Hello, welcome to another episode of In the Trenches with Gang Green. I'm your host, Bubbs. Today is Sunday, January 12th. Hopefully, everybody's having a good day so far today. This is episode 468 of the In the Trenches with Gang Green podcast. I thank you, as always, for joining me. For those tuning in on YouTube, make sure to please like and subscribe. As always, appreciate those of you also tuning in on all the different audio podcast platforms where this show can be found. Here we go. First Sunday without football here in the 2025 offseason. And it's a big wild card Sunday across the league. And you sit here as a Jet fan and you only can hope that this time next year or sometime soon, this 14-year drought will end and we can look forward to a wild card game, or you want to get real greedy and look forward to a first round bye. Let's just look forward to a playoff berth, because I think we're all sick and tired of sitting here in the first, week of January and the season being over and already talking about the off season and already talking about September just a couple days into 2025. But here we are again. Many of us, we continue to reminisce on the 2009, 2010 teams this time of year, the last time this team was relevant, and we try and hope that better days are ahead here for the future of this organization, as it's another year with the Jets out of the postseason here as we approach really wild card weekend opening up yesterday. Of course, 3 more games today and then 1 more game tomorrow night. So as always, we got a lot to get into today. Wanted to kind of get a quicker video in here before, all the wild card games happen today. Got some content planned this week, so wanted to get this episode out with some of the latest news around the Jets coaching search. This morning, the Patriots hired Mike Vrabel, so we'll get into that, reaction to that, break down my thoughts and how that impacts the Jets. I also want to get into some updates on Rex Ryan and his chances of getting the head coaching job here for the New York Jets, according to Connor Hughes, who made an appearance on WFAN just a little bit ago. As always, though, before we begin, we got to tell you about our podcast partners, starting with our friends over at BetUS. Question of the day. It's been the question of the day for a while. Who do you want the Jets to hire as their next head coach? You can throw general manager in there as well. Who do you want to be the new regime leading this franchise? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and also click the link in the description of this video to get a 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 over at BetUS. You want to get in on any of the college football national championship betting action, any of the playoff NFL betting action, NBA, NHL, you name it, BetUS has it. Make sure to check them out. Also, our friends over at SeatGeek, you're looking to get out to any awesome sporting events, any plays, concerts, shows, the best in entertainment, SeatGeek has it. And if it's your first time buying using SeatGeek, use promo code BUBSONSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase and get yourself out to some awesome events. And of course, Huga House, if you want to select from any of their wide range selection of hats, make sure to check them out. And at checkout, use promo code BUBS for 15% off your first purchase and then 30% off your next hat. So get yourself some awesome Huga House swag. So here we go. Episode 468 here on a Sunday morning, afternoonish, just before wild card weekend continues. So today we got some breaking NFL news. Mike Vrabel has been hired officially by the New England Patriots. And I'll just say this, just some quick thoughts on this before we get to Rex Ryan here. Just, again, a quick video. I'm not really surprised about this whole Mike Vrabel thing. You look at the timeline. Unfortunately, after that interview, everything just went right into the direction of the Patriots, right? The Jets had the interview with Mike Vrabel, the in-person interview at One Jets Drive on January 3rd, which was the Friday before, last week's Sunday game. And then 48 hours later, after the Patriots' Week 18 matchup against the Bills, they fired Gerard Mayo, and all signs pointed towards that Mike Vrabel meeting with the Jets was a legitimate case for Vrabel to kind of light a fire under Robert Kraft. And Vrabel did have interest in the Jets, but ultimately he wanted to be with the Patriots. I think part of that interview was to potentially light a fire under Kraft, and that organization at least took that interview with the Jets and lit a fire under their own and said, you know what, we're going to fire we're going to fire Gerard Mayo January 5th. So 48 hours after that interview, they fire him. And the interview process just, boom, very quick, right? They go right through the Rooney Rule, which obviously stirred a lot of controversy around the NFL. You go through some other candidates, but we all knew they were rushing the process. They were rushing they were rushing really their search. They weren't going through a very thorough search. It's kind of how the Patriots have always been. Even Gerard Mayo last year, he was kind of just an in-house promotion. So no surprise. It's unfortunate. I think a lot of Jet fans wanted Vrabel. I wanted Vrabel. He was my top choice, but we knew all along, as much as he's your top choice, he's going to be a lot of other teams' top choices. And the history between him and New England is, obviously very evident. He's there, Ring of Honor, Patriots Hall of Fame, all that stuff. And just unfortunate that, couldn't get it done, but not surprised. You now move on. And the Jets, I think, have kind of already moved on. I think they probably understood that Vrabel was going to be unlikely, even no matter how many attempts they made and how much of a late push they made to try and get him in. I think they always knew he was going to be unlikely. And I'm sure more will come out on the exact, what went down in Vrabel's list. And I'm sure there will be more reports that comes down on like how many teams were actually realistically in the race for Vrabel. Was it always just New England, and was Vrabel just using other teams, whatever, but not surprised he goes to New England. So it's pivot time. Brian Flores, to me, bumps up as my number one option. I know some people might disagree with that, but I want a guy with experience. And ideally, I hope that Brian Flores has learned from his experiences in Miami. And I hope that he's a guy that can come in here. I like the potential of his offensive staff if he brings McCown with him from Minnesota. Of course, we'll see who the GM is. I don't love the idea of Ryan Grigson, which just seems like it's picking up some steam, but we'll see. The whole process still has to play out here over the next week or two. So Flores, Glenn, you want to get into, the Joe Brady's of the world, those type of guys, how high or low. It feels like it's probably Flores, Glenn. If you can't get either of those guys, then it's probably down to, if they're going to go experience, then you get to like in my opinion, my no tier of like Vance Joseph, Matt Nagy, Arthur Smith, guys I would stay far away from, but we'll see what the Jets do. But it feels like Flores and Glenn are next in line here. So moving on here from the Mike Vrabel news, you now get into the latest around just some of the other Jets coaching stuff. And a report came out this morning, or some comments came out this morning from Connor Hughes, who made an appearance on WFAN, basically saying Rex Ryan is not going to get the Jets head coaching job. So here it was. Rex Ryan, I heard, is completely out. That is not going to happen with the Jets. That was Connor Hughes this morning on WFAN. I also don't think this comes by much of a surprise. Again, this is just reporting. It's nothing like, Rex Ryan says, oh, I'm out of it, or something like that, or he's not a finalist where they don't bring him in for a second interview. But it always felt like Rex Ryan himself was more so just campaigning for the Jets job. It wasn't really the Jets wanting Rex Ryan. It felt like it was always more so Rex Ryan wanting to publicly saying, I'm the best guy for the job multiple times over the last month or two. He just wanted to get an interview, wanted the job badly, but I think we can all agree the Jets probably, as much as you heard some things that Rex Ryan is a real candidate, when you look it down the list, he's not very high on many people's list, and there's a lot of guys that you would still take over him. I always said I was more open to Rex Ryan returning than others, just depending on what his staff would be, but he was never near the top of my list. He was always felt like Rex, to me, with this whole Jets interview process, always felt like a last second fallback option, where if the Jets couldn't get any of their top guys, they couldn't get Vrabel, couldn't get Flores, couldn't get Glenn, maybe they like one of the young coordinators, like a Joe Brady. Let's say they couldn't go Joe Brady, depending on how high they are on some of the other experienced coaches. How high are they on a guy like Bobby Slowick? If they couldn't get any of those guys, Rex Ryan, or none of these guys wanted to come here, right? Rex Ryan then would have been that last option where he likes the Jets, he wants to be here, nobody else is going to interview him, so he's going to be available. That's always what it felt like. So feels like Rex Ryan, you can officially take his name out of the running there with that report from Connor Hughes. I also don't think Rex Ryan, not that this was the ultimate factor, this has probably been the case for a while. The Jets probably interviewed Rex and knew it was never a realistic option, but Rex Ryan yesterday, saying that the Texans were a buy for the Chargers. And then you hear Joe Mixon and many other Texans players in the locker room, saying, oh, we're smoking on the Rex Ryan pack. Certainly doesn't help his case to become a coach anywhere. Defensive coordinator, head coach, not a great look when you say those type of things. So that's the sexy Rexy stuff. Again, wasn't totally against it, but there was better options. And to be honest, all along, did we really think? I always said it. The only way Rex Ryan was going to be a Jet head coach again was going to be if you couldn't get anybody or nobody wanted to come here. That's what it felt like. No way they were going to take Rex over some of these other options. The guy hasn't coached in 8 years. And nobody else wants him. I think that shows you a little bit, too, of the league-wide view on that. So there's the Rex Ryan stuff. So just a quick video I wanted to get out here talking about some of the latest. Tomorrow, I will have my first edition of New York Jets Mock Draft Monday. It is officially Mock Draft Monday season. I was going to do an episode last week, but with all the general manager and head coaching news, I decided to postpone it for 1 week. So now every Monday up until the draft, we will have Mock Draft Monday. Fire up the mock drafts, break down a variety of players, break down a variety of different things the Jets could do, trade up, trade back, defense, offense, quarterback, whatever, you name it. We'll have it on the Mock Draft Monday, so stay tuned for that tomorrow. Enjoy Wild Card Sunday, and we will talk to you guys soon. Until next time, as always, JETS, 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 Jets.